All right, 3 words that mean zeros. Anybody know any of them? Roots. That's a good one. X-intercepts. And then the last one is just solution. So those are 3 words. They all mean the same thing. Okay, so now let's look at our in behavior. If it says x approaches positive infinity, whenever you see that x approaches positive infinity, that means that that's the right side. And x approaches negative infinity, that's the left side. So I'm not sure if it'll say it on the test, but just know if it says positive, that means the right arrow. If it says negative, that means the left arrow. So it's asking, so we have our left arrows. So these are all the left arrows. And then it's asking about your right arrows. Okay. So for the first one, what is both arrows are going up. So you would say positive infinity for both. For B, they're both going down. So you would say negative infinity for both. For C, the right arrow, the one you see circled in red, is going up. The left arrow, which is circled in blue, is going down. And for D, the right arrow, which is circled in red, is going down. And the left arrow is going up. Any questions about in behavior? Make sure you're taking notes. I want you all to do well on this next test. We don't have, we're at the middle of the semester, so every grade is really, really important from this point. All right, so now we have the Gonzalez family. They want to order new carpet for upstairs. For the upstairs of their home, the blueprint below shows the dimensions of each room. So when it's asking for perimeter, is that addition or multiplication? Addition, good. That's addition. So it's only talking about the living room, so that would be these 2 sides. So I'm just gonna stack them up. 2x minus 9, 2x minus 9, 3x plus 1, 3x plus 1. Go ahead and add, going straight down. So you have, with your calculator, you can add those up. Negative 9 plus negative 9 plus 1 plus 1. You should get negative 16. Who got negative 16? That's good. And then 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. 10x. All right, but when it's asking for area, you do what? Multiply. So we have the 2x minus 9, and then I have 3x plus 1. Let's go ahead and fill in our squares. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 3x times 9, or negative 9, sorry. 3x times negative 9, negative 27x. 2x times 1, just 2x. And 2x times negative 9 is negative 9. Go ahead and add your like terms together. So these are like terms. So my final answer would be 6x squared. Negative 27x plus 2 is negative 25x, and then minus 9. And that would be your area. So you will have at least one perimeter and at least one area. Any questions about perimeter or area, how to find them? Okay, factoring will never go away. We got to make our box. Factoring is the opposite of multiplication. We're trying to figure out what goes outside of the box to multiply what's inside the box. So we have A, B, C. You always start by taking A times C. So that would be 3 times negative 5. That's negative 15. Put that at the top. Negative 2 at the bottom. The 3x squared has to go here, and the minus 5 has to go here. So I'll give you a few minutes to try to think about the numbers. Don't say it out loud. Just give me a thumbs up when you know what the numbers could be. Looking at your chart if you need to. All the numbers that you know multiply to be 15. All right, anybody know the numbers? They multiply to be negative 15 and add to negative 2. 3 and 5. Which one would have to be negative? The 5. Good job. So we're going to put the negative 5x in one square and 3x in the other. And then we just go 2 squares at a time, and we take out our GCF. So for the first one, this I can take out a 3x, and this is a negative 5. So that would be my first factor. The top row, I could take out an x, and the second row, a plus 1. So that would be x plus 1. And that is number 4A. Now B, that's a pattern. This is called the difference of squares. So when you see this, you don't need to make a box. You just make your 2 parentheses. So the only thing that can multiply to give you x is x times x. And what number multiplies to be 16? 4, yeah, 4 times 4. It has to be. So for difference of squares, what we have in each parentheses should look the same. And the only difference is the sign in the middle. One has to be a plus and one has to be a minus. Because that is how you end up with 0x as your middle term. Any questions about the first page? How do we feel? All those questions are on the test Wednesday. Any questions? Anything you need me to go back through? All right, let's look at the second page. All right, so even or odd, what do we think? Even. So remember, if it's the same direction, it's even. So I'm going to write this at the top. Maybe you want to write this. Even is going in the same direction. Odd, opposite. That's important. And then the second thing is that the right arrow describes the leading coefficient. I'm going to abbreviate that as LC. So that's really only important when it's an odd because they go opposite directions. So you're going to look at the one on the far right. If it's opposite direction, look at the one on the right because that'll tell you if it's a positive or negative. Okay, so both arrows are going down, so we know this is negative. Now, the absolute minimum would be your lowest point. So I'm going to write off to the side, no absolute min if you have one arrow going down. All you need is one going down for you to say there's no absolute min. And conversely, there's no absolute max if one side goes up. All you need is at least one. If you have one side going down and one side going up, that means you don't have any. But which one don't we have for this example? So do we have arrows going down? We do, so that means we don't have an absolute min. I'm gonna put none. Do we have an arrow pointing up? No, so we do have an absolute max. So the absolute max is your highest hill. So I'm gonna zoom in really closely. This here, this would be my absolute max, but it's also my relative max. So remember, an absolute is the highest hill, but relative max is every hill. So I'm gonna round that to about 1.5. That's pretty close enough. So I'm gonna say 1.5. I have to put that here and here. Put that in both places. Okay, so then do we have another hilltop anywhere on this graph? Who says yes? Yep, there is another one. Good job. And that would be here. Now, that's not the highest, so it's just going to be a relative max. So that looks like that's about -50. So we would only put that in one spot. And then lastly, your relative min is where there's a dip in the graph. So that's about here. And I'm going to round that to -2, -10. All right, any questions? All right, what is this asking about? The left or the right side? The left, good, because it says negative infinity. Not that it matters because this is even, but again, it's important that you can read the end behavior statement. But both sides are going down, so I'm going to put a negative infinity on both of these. All right, how many times does the graph touch the x-axis? Show me with your fingers. Yeah, 3. So there are 3 real roots. Now a double root, that's when it bounces off of the x-axis. That's what that means. And notice that it does that one time. So, because we said there are 3 real roots, we're going to make 3 parentheses here. Put an X in front of each one. And then make a note and then highlight it that you flip the sign whenever you're writing an equation. That's really, really important on the test. You flip the sign. So the first time is at -5, so I'm going to put a +5. The next time is just at 0, so right here. 0 doesn't have a sign, so I'm just going to leave that X alone in this parentheses by itself. Now you could put +0, you could put -0. I wouldn't mark it wrong, or you can just leave X by itself. And then what would go on my last parentheses? Johan, any ideas? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Michael, what do you think would go in this last one? -2. Now, notice that one of them bounces. Okay, so it bounces off where it says -5, which means that you have to, this is really important, you have to put a square on that factor. Anytime it bounces off, you have to square it. And the last thing, because this is a negative leading coefficient, you have to start it with a minus sign. You could put a -1 in the front. Your domain is going to be all real numbers. Your range, because you have an absolute max, that's going to be the distance. So you're going to start here all the way up to this point. So that would be -infinity, and the highest is 5. All right, and the last one we'll look at together is 6 for today. So remember, for addition, you just combine your like terms. I'm going to write that. If it's adding, all you have to do is combine your like terms. And you all did pretty good on that exit ticket last week. So for A is adding, and D is adding. Okay, so let's go ahead and add. So if it's addition, all we're going to do is combine my like terms. So we have 11x squared and 6x squared. What do you get when you add 11 plus 6? 17. Notice you don't change the exponent. So you don't make that x to the 4th. Let me write that here, because that's something else that we did on the exit ticket. You don't add the exponents though. So when I say combine like terms, I'm only looking at the numbers. So that wouldn't be 17x to the 4th. It's just 17x squared. And then next I'm going to add the viewpoint of my iPad is really like enlarged, so it's kind of weird over here, but +14, is that a -8x? All right, so 14x minus 8x. 14 minus 8, 6x. And then lastly, 13 plus 20, that would be 33, sorry. That would be your answer. All right, question B, you have to go ahead and distribute. Only these do a sign change. So I'm going to rewrite it. And I'm just spacing mine out because of my iPad situation. But every single sign flips. So you see how that's a +5x? It's going to change to a -5x squared. And then the -7x is going to change to a +7x. And the -9 is going to change to a +9. Now we can combine my like terms because we've made it an addition question. So I have -10 minus 15, which would be a -15x squared. And then I have +4x and +7x. 4 plus 7 is 11. And then lastly, I have a +5 and a +9, and that would be 14. All right, I want you to do C and D on your own. I'm going to put up the answers. So do C and D by yourself, and then I'll show you the answers shortly.